The Last Stand of Hope. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the research vessel Hyperion, watching the swirling purple nebula that had captured her crew's attention for the past 3 weeks. The ship's quantum sensors had detected something unusual within the cosmic cloud, energy signatures that defied known physics. As a veteran of the Earth exploration fleet, she'd learned to trust her instincts, and right now, they were screaming that they were about to make history. "Captain, you need to see this." Dr. Marcus Rivera's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. The excitement in her chief scientist's tone was unmistakable. "We found something in the debris field." The Hyperion's engines hummed quietly as Chen made her way to the science lab. The ship, while primarily a research vessel, represented the pinnacle of human engineering, sleek, efficient, and adaptable. Its crew of 50 consisted of Earth's finest scientists and explorers, each chosen for their expertise and ability to think outside conventional boundaries. The science lab was a flurry of activity when Chen arrived. Holographic displays filled the air with swirling data streams, and in the center of it all stood Rivera, his dark eyes fixed on a 3-dimensional projection of what appeared to be an artificial structure. "It's approximately 3 kilometers in length," Rivera explained, manipulating the hologram with practiced gestures. "The architecture is unlike anything we've encountered before. The energy readings suggest it's still active, despite showing signs of being at least 50,000 years old." Chen studied the projection carefully. The structure resembled a massive tuning fork, its prongs wrapped in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "Any signs of weapon systems or defensive capabilities?" "None that we can detect," Lieutenant Kira Patel, their security chief, reported from her station. "But these readings are strange. The structure appears to be generating quantum fluctuations that our instruments can barely measure." The decision weighed heavily on Chen's mind. First contact protocols were clear: observation only, no direct interaction. But something about this discovery felt different. The structure wasn't just alien technology. It was a deliberate construction, possibly left for others to find. "Prepare an exploration team," Chen announced. "Full containment protocols. I want every precaution taken." She turned to Rivera. "Doctor, you'll lead the scientific analysis, but at the first sign of danger, we pull out." "Understood." The team assembled in the launch bay 30 minutes later. Rivera and 2 other scientists wore the latest generation of exploration suits, their surfaces covered in sensor arrays and protective fields. Lieutenant Patil and 2 security officers would accompany them, armed with non-lethal deterrents. Standard procedure for scientific missions. As the shuttle approached the structure, the true scale of their discovery became apparent. The geometric patterns weren't just decorative. They were circuits of some kind, carrying energy through the entire construction. The shuttle's instruments detected increasing quantum activity as they drew closer. "Energy signatures are spiking," Paddle reported, her hands steady on the controls. "Whatever this thing is, it's reacting to our presence." They docked at what appeared to be an entrance point, the structure's surface parting smoothly to reveal an airlock-like chamber. The team entered cautiously, their suit sensors transmitting data back to the Hyperion. Inside, the structure was even more remarkable. The corridors seemed to bend in ways that challenged human perception, and the walls pulsed with a soft, blue-white light that followed their movement. Rivera's excitement was palpable as he took readings. "This technology, it's not just advanced, it's fundamentally different from anything we understand," he breathed. "The entire structure appears to exist partially in quantum space. It's like whoever built this had mastered the ability to manipulate reality itself." They reached what appeared to be a central chamber. In its center floated a crystalline object about the size of a basketball, suspended in a field of shifting energy. As the team approached, the crystal began to pulse with an internal light. "Captain," Rivera called back to the Hyperion, "I think we found what was generating those energy signatures. It appears to be some sort of—" He never finished the sentence. The crystal suddenly flared with brilliant light, and every instrument in their suits went haywire. Back on the Hyperion, alarms began blaring as massive energy spikes were detected throughout the structure. "Get them out of there," Chen ordered, but before the extraction could begin, space itself seemed to twist around the structure. The quantum fluctuations had become a full-blown distortion field. That's when they detected the first ships emerging from hyperspace. Massive vessels, their hulls covered in bioorganic armor, their shapes reminiscent of predatory creatures. The Universal Translator quickly decoded their first transmission. "Human vessels, you have activated the beacon. The property of the Kraxan Empire has been disturbed. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate termination." Chen's mind raced. The exploration team was still inside the structure, and the Hyperion, while advanced, was no match for what appeared to be a hostile battle fleet. But as she watched the alien ships approach, she realized this wasn't just about survival anymore. They had stumbled onto something important, something the Kraxan Empire feared enough to respond with overwhelming force. "All hands, battle stations," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Lieutenant Patel, get our people out of that structure. Engineering, prepare for emergency quantum jump. Whatever this beacon is, we cannot let it fall into their hands." The Hyperion's crews sprang into action, even as the first warning shots from the Kraxan fleet lit up space around them. They had minutes at most before the situation would become desperate. But as Chen watched her crew work with determined efficiency, she felt a surge of pride. Whatever they had discovered, whatever was coming, humanity would face it as they always had, with courage, ingenuity, and an unwavering spirit. The real question was, what had they awakened in the depths of space, and why did it terrify the Kraxan Empire so much? Echoes across the stars. The Hyperion shuddered as another blast from the Kraxan warships impacted its quantum shields. In the extraction shuttle's cockpit, Lieutenant Patel's hands flew across the controls, executing maneuvers that pushed the small craft to its structural limits. Behind her, Dr. Rivera clutched the crystalline beacon, its pulsing light casting ethereal shadows across the cramped interior. "Shuttle Artemis, multiple hostiles on intercept course," the Hyperion's tactical officer warned through the comm. "You have a narrow window approaching in 15 seconds. Patel's jaw tightened. "Copy that, Hyperion. Tell Captain Chen we're bringing something else besides the beacon. The structure's data core. We managed to download part of it before everything went dark." The shuttle rocketed through space, dodging the organic-looking fighter craft the Kraxan ships had deployed. The aliens' technology was unlike anything in human records. Their ships seemed to move with an almost fluid grace, as though swimming through the void rather than flying through it. Back on the Hyperion's bridge, Captain Chen watched the tactical display with growing concern. The Kraxan fleet had positioned itself in a classic containment pattern, cutting off all obvious escape routes. Their ships were larger, more numerous, and significantly more powerful than the research vessel. Engineering reports quantum drive at 90%. First Officer David Kumar reported. But the Kraxan's weapons are generating some kind of quantum interference field. A jump now would be extremely risky. Chen nodded grimly. They'd done this before. They're not just advanced. They're experienced in preventing escape attempts. She studied the tactical display, noting how the enemy fleet moved with practiced precision. But they're also being careful. Almost afraid. The crystalline beacon in Rivera's hands pulsed more intensely as the shuttle approached the Hyperion. Its light had taken on a rhythmic pattern, like a heartbeat growing stronger. The scientist's eyes widened as he noticed something in the stream of data flowing across his tablet. "Lieutenant," he called to Patel, "the beacon's quantum signature is harmonizing with our drive systems. It's not just a communication device, it's a key." The shuttle docked with a bone-jarring thud as Patel executed a combat landing. Security teams rushed to escort them to the bridge, where Chen was already implementing a desperate gamble. "Captain," Rivera burst onto the bridge, still clutching the beacon. "We need to interface this with our quantum drive." The structure's data. It contains coordinates, specifications. This thing isn't just calling for help. It's providing a way out. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 30%, Kumar reported. We're receiving a transmission from the Kraxan flagship. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that seemed to be a synthesis of organic and crystalline components. Its voice resonated with harmonics that made the crew's teeth ache. Your resistance is futile and illogical, the Kraxan commander stated. The beacon cannot be allowed to activate. Surrender it, and we will grant you a quick death. Continue to resist, and we will ensure your suffering serves as a lesson to others. Chen stood from her captain's chair, facing the screen with defiant dignity. We've reviewed your history, Commander. Long-range scans show the energy weapons on your ships are charged well beyond normal combat levels. You're not here to capture us. You're here to vaporize us and the beacon together, which means you're terrified of what it might summon. The Kraxan commander's crystalline features shifted in what might have been surprise. Your species is more perceptive than we anticipated. Yes, we know what lies dormant in the dark between stars. The old ones must not return. Their concepts of justice and balance would destroy everything we have built, everything we have taken. During this exchange, Rivera and the engineering team had been working frantically, integrating the beacon into the Hyperion systems. The scientist's eyes widened as he decoded more of the structure's data. Captain, he whispered urgently, the beacon. It's not calling the old ones. It's calling their guardians, their defenders. And the coordinates, they're not for running away. They're for running straight at them. Chen turned back to the screen, a small smile playing at her lips. Commander, humanity has a long history of being underestimated. We're not just going to survive this encounter, we're going to change the galaxy with it. She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. All hands, brace for quantum jump. Dr. Rivera, Lieutenant Patel, whatever you're going to do with that beacon, do it now. Rivera connected the final interface as Patel input the decoded coordinates. The beacon's pulsing light synchronized with the ship's quantum drive, creating harmonics that spread throughout the vessel's systems. The Kraxan ships opened fire with everything they had, their energy weapons capacitors overloading in their desperation to stop what was coming. Quantum drive engaged, Kumar reported. But these readings, Captain, we're not just jumping through space. The Hyperion's quantum drive spun up to frequencies it was never designed to achieve, guided by the ancient beacon's power. Space around the ship began to twist and fold in impossible ways. The Kraxan fleet's weapons fire bent around them, missing the research vessel entirely. We're not running, Chen announced to her crew as reality itself seemed to blur around them. We're about to remind the galaxy that humanity doesn't bow to tyranny. We stand against it, and sometimes standing against it means bringing back something that tyranny fears. The Hyperion vanished in a flash of quantum fire, leaving behind a Kraxan fleet broadcasting emergency signals to their empire. The humans had done the unthinkable. They had activated a beacon of the old ones, and they had followed its call into the unknown depths of space. The question was, what would answer their call? And would humanity be ready for the consequences of awakening powers that had slumbered for millennia? The Guardians' return. The Hyperion emerged from quantum space in a region that defied conventional physics. Massive structures floated in the void, their surfaces covered in the same shifting geometric patterns they had seen on the beacon. But these weren't just buildings, they were ships, each one larger than Earth's largest space stations, dormant but not dead. Multiple energy signatures activating, Kumar reported, his voice hushed with awe. Those ships, they're responding to the beacon's signal. The crystalline beacon had transformed during their quantum jump, its surface now transparent, revealing intricate machinery within. Data streamed across nearby displays as the ancient device interfaced more deeply with the Hyperion systems. This is incredible, Rivera breathed, studying the incoming data. These ships, they're part of something called the Sentinel Fleet, They were created by the Old Ones to maintain peace and justice across the galaxy. When the Old Ones departed, they left the Sentinels to guard against exactly the kind of tyranny the Kraxan Empire represents. Before Chen could respond, a massive hologram materialized on the bridge. It showed a being composed of pure energy, its form vaguely humanoid but constantly shifting, like living light given consciousness. "We are the Guardian Consensus," the being spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "You have awakened us using the emergency beacon protocol. Our scans indicate you are human. A young species, yet you managed to activate and understand our technology. Interesting." Chen stepped forward. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Exploration Fleet vessel Hyperion. We discovered your beacon while exploring an uncharted region of space. The Kraxan Empire attempted to destroy both us and the beacon to prevent its activation." The Guardian's form flickered. "The Kraxan. Yes. We have been monitoring their rise even in our dormancy. They represent everything we were created to prevent. Conquest through force, technological suppression of younger species, the transformation of free worlds into resource extraction centers for their empire. They're terrified of you," Patil observed. "Their commander was willing to overload their weapons just to stop us from reaching you." "As they should be," the Guardian replied. "But you humans, you did not run from the beacon. You did not try to weaponize it. You sought to understand it. And when faced with overwhelming force, you chose to seek us out rather than surrender. This speaks well of your species." Rivera stepped forward, clutching his tablet. "The data we downloaded from the beacon's structure, it contains historical records. The Old Ones didn't just leave. They ascended to another plane of existence. But first, they created you to ensure that younger species would have the chance to develop naturally, without interference from conquering empires." The Guardian's form expanded, filling the bridge with shifting patterns of light. "Correct. We are the Sentinels, the Guardians, the Peacekeepers. But we require something that our creators could not program into us. Initiative, the wisdom to know when to act. The Old Ones established protocols requiring that younger species must choose to awaken us. They must demonstrate both the intelligence to understand our technology and the moral courage to stand against tyranny." More holograms appeared, showing the Kraxan Empire's expansion across the galaxy. Worlds transformed into crystalline hives, species either enslaved or elevated through forced cybernetic transformation into drone workers. "We have watched the Kraxan consume 2,317 worlds," the Guardian continued. "They believe their crystalline technology makes them the natural successors to the Old Ones. They are wrong. Technology alone does not grant the right to dominate others." Captain Chen watched the holographic displays with growing determination. "The Kraxan fleet that attacked us, they'll have called for reinforcements. They'll be hunting us. And now they know where we've gone." Indeed, the Guardian's form pulsed with what might have been anticipation. "They will come with everything they have. The Kraxan Empire cannot risk the Sentinel fleet returning to active duty. They will seek to destroy us before we fully awaken." "Then let them come," Chen declared. "Humanity hasn't survived and thrived among the stars by backing down from bullies. We'll fight beside you." The Guardian's form shifted, taking on a more distinctly humanoid appearance. "Your ship's quantum drive. You modified it using the beacon's interface, didn't you? Not just following instructions, but innovating, adapting our technology to work with yours. Few species have ever demonstrated such quick understanding of Old One systems." Rivera nodded. "We had to. It was either that or surrender, and humanity doesn't surrender to tyrants." Then perhaps, the Guardian's form brightened. The Old One's prophecies were correct. They spoke of a species that would arise, one that could bridge the gap between the younger races and the legacy of the Old Ones. A species with both the intelligence to understand and the wisdom to use that understanding justly. The dormant ships around them were awakening now. their massive forms humming with power that made the fabric of space itself vibrate in sympathy. But they weren't merely activating. They were changing, adapting, their systems interfacing with the quantum technologies humanity had developed independently. The Kraxan believed themselves to be the inheritors of the Old One's legacy, the Guardian stated, but perhaps it is humanity who truly carries that potential. You understand something they never could. That true strength lies not in domination, but in the courage to stand against it. Will you join us, humans of the Hyperion? Will you help us remind the galaxy why the Sentinel fleet was feared by tyrants and welcomed by the free? Chen looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. Their mission of peaceful exploration had brought them to this moment, where they would help restore justice to a galaxy groaning under the crystal boot of the Kraxan Empire. We will, she answered, not just for ourselves, but for every species that deserves the chance to reach for the stars without fear. The Kraxan Empire is about to learn what happens when they push humanity too far. The Guardian's form flared with approval. Then let us prepare. The Kraxan will come with their empire's full might. They will find the Sentinel fleet awakened, humanity's innovation enhancing our ancient power, and a truth they have forgotten. The galaxy belongs to no single species, but to all who would live in peace among the stars. Alliance of Ages. The next 48 hours aboard the awakening Sentinel fleet were a blur of activity. The Hyperion's crew worked alongside the energy beings of the Guardian consensus, merging human ingenuity with ancient technology in ways that neither species had anticipated. Dr. Rivera stood in what the Guardians called the Strategic Integration Chamber, surrounded by holographic displays showing the modifications being made to the Sentinel ships. It's extraordinary, he explained to Captain Chen. The Sentinel fleet's quantum technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also rigid. They were designed to be perfect, unchanging. That's actually their weakness. And that's where we come in, Lieutenant Patil added, manipulating a tactical display. Human technology is adaptable, flexible. We're used to making things work with limited resources, finding solutions nobody else thought of. The Guardian who had first greeted them, now calling itself Interface, materialized beside them. Your species' approach to technology is unique among those we have encountered. You do not simply use tools, you improve them, adapt them, force them to evolve. This is precisely what the Sentinel fleet requires after millennia of dormancy. Chen watched as human engineers worked alongside Guardian energy forms, integrating Hyperion's quantum drive innovations into the massive Sentinel ships. The Kraxan won't be expecting this. They think they're coming to destroy an ancient threat, not face a fusion of old and new. Our long-range sensors detect multiple Kraxan battle groups converging on this location, Interface reported. They have mobilized approximately 60% of their total fleet strength. This suggests they consider us an extinction-level threat to their empire. They're right, Chen said grimly. Not because we'll destroy them, but because once the galaxy sees them defeated, their grip on their conquered worlds will shatter. She turned to Kumar, who was coordinating with the Guardian tactical systems. How long until they arrive? Approximately 18 hours, Kumar reported. They're pushing their drives to maximum, burning out their ships to get here faster. They're scared. Rivera's tablet chimed with an incoming data stream. Captain, you need to see this. We've finished analyzing the historical records from the beacon. The Kraxan Empire, they're not just conquerors. They're parasites. Their crystalline technology, it doesn't just transform planets. It transforms species. They forcibly evolve conquered peoples into crystalline forms that can be controlled by their hive mind. The Guardian interface pulsed with what might have been anger. This is why they fear us. The Old Ones created us to prevent exactly this kind of forced evolution. Every species has the right to develop naturally, to choose their own path. Chen studied the tactical displays, her mind racing. Their entire empire is built on control, rigid, crystalline, unchanging, just like their ships. A smile spread across her face. And that's their weakness. Interface, I have an idea. But it's going to require your fleet to do something it's never done before. The next hours were a frenzy of preparation. The Hyperion's crew worked to implement Chen's strategy, their human creativity combining with Guardian technology in unprecedented ways. The Sentinel ships, guided by this new hybrid approach, began to move into formation. Kraxan fleet approaching final quantum transition point, Kumar announced as the 18-hour mark neared, reading over 300 capital ships, plus support vessels. Chen stood on the bridge of the lead Sentinel ship, now integrated with systems inspired by the Hyperion's innovations. Around them, the ancient fleet had been transformed. Where once they were perfect and unchanging, now they pulsed with adaptive energy fields derived from human quantum drive technology. All ships, battle formation, she commanded. The Guardian consensus had unanimously agreed to let her coordinate the defense, recognizing that human tactical flexibility would be crucial. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every species that deserves the chance to reach the stars on their own terms. Space twisted as the Kraxan fleet arrived, their crystalline ships filling the void with deadly beauty. Their formation was perfect, methodical, and predictable, just as Chen had counted on. This is the Kraxan High Command. A transmission boomed across all frequencies. Your interference in galactic evolution ends now. Surrender and be incorporated into the greater crystalline consciousness, or be eradicated. Chen's response was calm, confident. You know, there's something you never understood about evolution. She nodded to Rivera, who activated the modified quantum systems. True evolution isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming adaptable. The Sentinel ships suddenly shifted, their energy patterns changing in ways that made the Kraxan sensors go haywire. The human-inspired modifications allowed them to alter their quantum signatures randomly, becoming impossible to target effectively. All ships, execute Battle Plan Prometheus, Chen ordered, naming it after the mythical figure who gave fire to humanity. The Sentinel fleet moved with impossible grace, their formations fluid and unpredictable thanks to the hybrid human Guardian technology. The Kraxan fleet opened fire, their crystalline weapons unleashing enough energy to shatter planets. But the reformed Sentinel ships danced through the barrage, their adaptive shields absorbing or redirecting the energy in ways the Kraxan had never seen. They don't understand what they're facing, Patil observed from her tactical station. They're fighting like they're up against the old Sentinel fleet. Predictable, unchanging. They have no protocols for this. Interface materialized beside Chen. Your species' gift to us was not just technology, Captain. It was perspective. The understanding that strength lies not in perfection, but in the ability to change, to adapt, to evolve. The Kraxan sought to force evolution upon others. Instead, they stopped their own. The battle was joined in earnest now, a clash between the rigid perfection of the Kraxan Empire and the adaptive brilliance of the Human Guardian Alliance. And as the stars themselves seemed to tremble at the conflict, one truth became clear. The galaxy was about to change forever, and humanity had helped light the way. Legacy of two species. The void between stars became a canvas of devastation and beauty. The Kraxan fleet's crystalline weapons carved paths of destruction through space, while the transformed Sentinel ships wove between the attacks with impossible grace, their human-inspired adaptive shields flickering with rainbow energies. Captain Chen watched the tactical display as the battle unfolded according to her strategy. The Sentinel ships weren't just fighting, they were learning, adapting their tactics in real time thanks to the integration of human quantum computing principles. Status report, she commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Kraxan fleet showing signs of disarray, Kumar reported. Their rigid battle formations are breaking down. They can't maintain their crystalline synchronization in the face of our adaptive attacks. Rivera studied the sensor readings from his station. Captain, we're detecting quantum fluctuations in their command ships. The crystalline matrix that links their fleet, It's destabilizing under the stress of trying to adapt to our unpredictable patterns. The Guardian interface materialized, its energy form pulsing with battle readiness. The Kraxan made a critical error. They believed that by transforming themselves into crystalline beings, they would achieve perfection. Instead, they sacrificed the one thing that makes organic life truly powerful: the ability to evolve. A massive explosion lit up space as one of the Kraxan command ships shattered, its perfect crystalline structure unable to handle the quantum stress of combat against an enemy it couldn't predict. The destruction sent ripples through the enemy fleet's neural network, causing more ships to falter. Their entire empire is built on the idea of forced evolution toward their definition of perfection, Chen realized. They never considered that imperfection, the ability to adapt, to change, to make mistakes, and learn from them, might be the greater strength. Incoming transmission from the Kraxan flagship, Patil announced. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The holographic display showed the Kraxan High Commander, its crystalline form showing visible fractures. "What have you done?" it demanded. "This is not possible. Our evolution is perfect. We are the pinnacle of development." "No," Chen replied, her voice firm. "You're just another empire that forgot the most important lesson in the universe. Diversity breeds strength. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. True power comes from learning to work together despite our differences, not by forcing everyone to become the same." As if to emphasize her point, the Sentinel ships executed another series of unpredictable maneuvers, their human-modified quantum drives allowing them to appear almost simultaneously at multiple points in space. The Kraxan fleet's attempts to counter these tactics only caused more chaos in their crystalline network. "Their neural network is cascading toward total failure," Rivera reported excitedly. "The strain of trying to adapt to our tactics is causing their entire command structure to break down. Captain, we're not just winning the battle, we're proving their entire philosophy wrong." The Guardian interface's form expanded, connecting with the other energy beings coordinating the Sentinel fleet. "We offer you one chance, Kraxan High Command. Stand down. Release your conquered worlds. Let species choose their own paths of evolution." "Never." The Kraxan commander's voice was distorted, breaking down like their fleet. "We are perfection. We err." The transmission cut off as the Kraxan flagship's crystalline structure finally shattered under the quantum stress. Throughout their fleet, ships began to power down or break apart as the neural network collapsed completely. "All Sentinel ships, hold fire," Chen ordered. "Target their engines only. Let's show them a better way. Mercy instead of destruction." The battle ended not with the annihilation of the Kraxan fleet, but with its surrender. As the Guardian consensus began the work of helping the conquered worlds free themselves from crystalline transformation, Chen stood with her crew and watched the aftermath. "The Old Ones were right," Interface said, materializing beside them. "They predicted that one day a species would arise that could bridge the gap between the past and the future. Not by being perfect, but by understanding that imperfection, the ability to change, to question, to innovate, is what drives the universe forward." "What happens now?" Chen asked, watching as freed ships from various species began arriving, drawn by the news of the Kraxan Empire's defeat. "Now," Interface's form brightened, "we rebuild, not as conquerors or perfectors, but as guardians and guides. The Sentinel fleet will remain, but changed by our contact with humanity. We will help species develop at their own pace in their own ways, and humanity will help us remember why that's important." Rivera looked up from his tablet, where data from the battle was still streaming. "The quantum modifications we made to the Sentinel fleet, they're still evolving, still adapting. Every ship is slightly different now, learning from its experiences, just like us. That's the real legacy of this battle," Chen realized. "Not just defeating an empire, but proving that strength comes from embracing change, not fighting it. The galaxy needs both the wisdom of the ancient guardians and the adaptability of younger species like humanity. As the Hyperion's crew watched, ships from dozens of freed worlds gathered around the Sentinel fleet. The age of crystalline perfection was over. In its place would rise something far more powerful, an alliance of diverse species, each contributing their unique strengths to the greater whole. The Guardian Interface's final words seemed to echo through space itself. The Old One sought to create perfection. Instead, humanity showed us something better, the perfect imperfection of evolution itself. Together, we will guard that legacy for all who wish to reach for the stars. And so, from a simple research mission that discovered an ancient beacon, humanity had changed the course of galactic history, not through overwhelming force or claims of perfection, but through the very qualities the Kraxan had dismissed as weaknesses: creativity, adaptability, and the courage to remain true to oneself even in the face of an empire that demanded uniformity. The stars seemed to shine brighter that day, as if celebrating the dawn of a new age, one where diversity was strength, change was welcomed, and the path to the future would be walked together, side by side, each species adding its own unique steps to the cosmic dance.